I have this baby G for quite some time now, but I don't think I've made a video about this one yet. But before I could do that, I'm gonna do some servicing. Make sure this watch looks much more presentable than it is currently right now. So to do that, of course, I have to clean it up and perhaps switch the battery afterwards. But of course, in order to do that, we're gonna have to disassemble the entire thing, clean up all the dust and dirt out of the way. This is just by age. I have been holding on to this watch for, I don't know, 3 to 4 years now. I almost forgot I have this, and then I was cleaning up the room and I found it. So here we are. The way that it was built into the casing is so interesting. It really reminds me of a modern G-Shock watch. Remember, this is just a baby G. Notice how all the parts integrate together with the metal frame. The resin part has been double-sided tape underneath it. You could just peel it off, but even without the double-sided tape or the glue that Casio attached to this thing, this part will hold just fine onto it, and I like this added security. But we don't need those, and in this case definitely gonna be an interference because I'm gonna clean this watch thoroughly. Remember, for a watch that is baby G, I have to keep reminding myself of the fact this is a baby G. It feels like a G-Shock. Other the fact that it says baby G, or perhaps the 10 bar water resistant written at the glass there, this could easily be a G-Shock. So now clean it up, and once it is done, you could see it is much more presentable. Barely any scratch at all, but indeed it is still in use condition, but it looks so good. Still glossy finish to it, not heavily abused like most G-Shock watch does. And here it is. This is the BGT2600 series. We'll talk a bit more in the review video. Today I'm just gonna showcase how it looks before I meet the review video. So let's say a bit more spoiler. So you can see comparison. That digital display has a bit fogginess to it. Even though it look okay, an old me would just, continue with the video regardless. Just still usable. I don't have to do anything further. But yeah, a new me, I want to go even deeper there. I want to try to clean up I would say the glass for the watch to make it much more clearer, which I'm pretty sure gonna be a really useful video if you own a lot of G-Shock watches sooner or later, especially if you have a solar chargeable model. And of course, if it is a digital version, you're gonna have to go through all this process, right? Take the movement out, which is so easy. Of course, this is a wave set to a good model, so there's tiny screws and the antenna attached on the hard case. And in order to remove the solar panel, this is so tedious. We're gonna have to go through all this process. Remove all the E-clip for 4 buttons, so we could remove this thin piece of metal frame. I'm not entirely sure what the purpose is, but most vintage or older Casio made watches, even for G-Shock and Baby G, have one of these, so be careful. I don't think even if you lost this, let's say you break this or you bend it and you cannot put it back in, I don't think it's gonna be as useful. Anyway, here's the solar panel underneath you, which is so cool. It is not overly complicated. They just place it on a piece of metal. Some G-Shock have it on a piece of plastic, which makes the whole process hard to do. In this case, so much more convenient. Look at that. All you have to do is just wipe up all of this, I don't know, vapor deposition on the solar panel. I'm not sure what those are, and just like that, the watch looks clean. This is all the entire goal. I have to go through all this disassembly process just to wipe the glass. But because I don't want to go through this whole process all over again, I'm gonna go even further, deep cleaning this whole thing. I'm gonna use a special brush. You could just use microfiber. Old me would just wipe it off with my t-shirt, but new me, I'm gonna go even further, clean it up a bit, better. And look at that, much better. Of course, while at it, let's clean the inside of the glass as well. Be very careful not to damage or accidentally remove all of those lettering, because those are permanent. And then remove the underneath side of the solar panel glass as well. Of course, you're gonna have to do that. And while at it, why not gently clean the LCD at the same time to make sure this watch looks much better. I'm sure dust might probably get in between all this glass. Just hold this process some tiny little dust might get in there, but that's fine. It's still better than before. At least look at that. Final check before I assemble everything back in, and what I'm gonna have to do now is pretty much just reverse what I've done before. Just install everything back in, and that leads to final result. Looking much better. Look at that digital display, much clearer. So a quick recheck before I end the video, because we're gonna have to revisit this watch again in the review video, which really not a lot because all the details had been shown over here, but still I gotta make a dedicated video just to talk about the watch due to how unique this thing is. It deserves to be a G-Shock, but well, back then Cancer always separate them both, so here we go. Baby BGT2600 series watch. If you're interested, if you're impressed with the build of this model, look it up. The price is not as high, but I forgot to check the battery. Maybe it's already expired, so I have to change it up to a new one, and then we'll see how it goes.